Hey everyone, this is Trevor Bates here with PDS Equipment. Today we're going to be doing an unboxing of the Kebab HS. I'm going to show you guys start to finish how to take it out of the box and assemble it and all the working parts in the order of this kebab. And then we'll do another follow-up video showing you guys how to actually print a cup. So once again, this is just the unboxing. We're going to cut this thing open and lay everything out for you guys so you guys at home can do it yourself. Now look at it myself. All right, put that to the side. This is the sending unit. So this one's big. This is going to be the LED system. Lamp assembly. Right. Oh, these are really important too. So I got everything laid out now. Kind of breaking some of this stuff down. This is the curing lamp assembly. Underneath that we've got the top cover. This is the unit itself here. These parts here are going to come with the kebab. I'm going to show you guys how to put that on and adjust that as well. We've got these flat pieces. That's going to be in the rear of the kebab. Thumb screws. This knob is an adjustment lever. A little bag of screws is important here. That's also important. And these three brackets, as well as our magnetic material, which is going to block our light. So these three brackets are what we're going to mount to the bed once we go to physically put the rotary onto the bed. So we can do that. We can go ahead and do that and mount them over here on the bed. The first step I would make sure you guys know is to remove your table spacers. So flip these up and take off all your table spacers. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is start off by going over the rotary device. So this is our lamp assembly. So I'm going to take this, and it nests on top right here. So if you look, there is a slotted screw back here in the rear, and I loosen that up with an Allen that comes with the kebab. You'll see that in your box. Should be a 3mm Allen. So I'm going to set that there. This assembly is simply magnetic. So we're going to press that there, and you'll feel this grab on. So remove our styrofoam piece here. And this is our slide tailpiece. So in order to slide it, we're going to lift this lever and slide it back just like so. So you have to be lifting this lever on the outside in order to get this to move. Just like that. So, next thing I want to go over is going to be tightening this lamp down. So, if you look, we've got several screws. This silver screw here, I'm going to use to put in this threaded hole right here, like so. So what that's going to do is, I'm not going to tighten it yet, so that's going to allow me to adjust the angle and slide of this lamp. When I get a cup on here in a minute, I'll be able to show you how we're going to adjust the angle of this lamp. So once you've got your lamp assembly on, let's talk about getting our chuck piece on. So you're going to get this with a bag that looks like this. So you're going to mount this piece onto this tail piece just like so. And if you look, this is threaded. So we are going to screw that on. And in your bag, there's going to be an Allen and a screw as well. So this chuck is good for 20 ounce, 30 ounce cups. So I'm going to take that, actually take the whole assembly, so slide your lamp out of the way. And these two holes on the back should line up perfectly with those holes there. And slide our screw in. And then thread it in, just like so. This doesn't have to be crazy tight, just getting it snug. So now that's going to be there. Now these round pieces here, I like to use the short ones. They seem to work better on the 20s, but you can use either or. I'm going to start off by putting these out on the ends, but you can put these in the middle. There's multiple different slots for these. The ends seem to work best for me, but I've also done the middle. If I need to go on a narrower cup, we may go to the inside more here. So what you're going to do, you're seeing is as I spin this is going to spread this chuck out and it's going to grab this cup accordingly. So once that chuck is on, we also need to get our tail piece on. So our tail piece is in this bag here. Okay. So a couple different ones you can use. We have, we'll get them all out for you to see. So this piece is going to slide on just like that chuck did. I've been using this one, so I like to pop it on over top, just like so. Can be a little tricky, but once you get that on, just want to see that it gets flush like that. And then this will simply slide right on. There is a piece that comes with it, a washer that you can screw this on or off. I've not really had any issues with it not being slid on, but if you're going to use this piece all the time, put the small washer on and thread it on. I forgot a piece, but it's okay. Now I'm just going to press this on. So we'll press this on. Now we have the ability to slide up and down. If this starts getting in a bind, I'm going to just move. I've had a couple of these get in a bind and I have to move these. So you want to make sure that this is flowing freely, just like so. Once again, I'm just lifting this lever here to do that. So I'm going to grab a cup and go over how to place the cup on here, and then we're going to go over the leveling device and how to adjust our lamp assembly. All right, so both these chucks are on. Next thing I'm going to show you is how to put a cup on, and then we're going to adjust our lamp, and we're going to adjust the angle of the cup as well as the height of the lamp. So what I'm going to do is we're going to spread these out by going clockwise, and then hold the tail end of your cup. You may need to slide your lamp out of the way, but we're going to want this to get flush, and then tighten this down by going counterclockwise. So what that's going to do is grab this cup, and I'm looking at these silver tabs. Out of the package, they're pretty close. Sometimes I do have to adjust these silver tabs. Looks like that one's a touch high. So in order to adjust that is just backing that screw off on that one and sliding it just a hair to match the other ones. But I really want these to be flush, just like you're seeing here. So once those are flush, we're going to take our slide piece here. And I did switch out the big one for the narrow one. I think it's grabbing it a little bit better than this wide one. So the narrow one, I just put that skinnier ring on it. And we're gonna come here and press with our thumb until you hear 2 or 3 clicks. What that's gonna do is tighten this up for me, allow it to spin. So I have the level here. So what we're gonna do is put that level somewhere about halfway up on the cup, right in here. If you look on this end, I have these white knobs. I'm going to unlock that and then raise this up by pulling this lever down and lifting up slightly while watching my bubble. So there's grooves that you can set and rest it just like so in order to get it the right height you're looking for. Once this is set, you shouldn't have to do it. That looks pretty good right there. So once that angle of that is set, I'm gonna lock this down, and I shouldn't have to adjust that again anytime I'm running 20-ounce cups. The next thing I want to talk about is getting our lamp height as well as the distance and the angle correct. So I've still got all these loose so I can slide this accordingly. And I'm going to raise and lower the lamp just like I did that other one. So when I slide this piece here, that lifts the whole lamp up. The main thing I'm looking for is to get about halfway on the cup. So if you look at this lamp here, I want it about halfway up on the cup. The machine will tell you what the lamp height settings should be, but I've noticed this to be good about halfway up. So notice this angle I've got my lamp at. I'm going to get this close here, and then we're going to lock these Allens down that we talked about right here. So by tightening this down, that's going to allow me to get the lamp set where I want it. This back one is more stationary. What I'll do is keep these loose. And there's actually these little tabs that pop out on both sides of the lamp here. It's designed for you to touch them and then tighten your lamp down once they're touching. So we'll tighten there and there, just like so. And then I will pop these back in. And what that does is set that lamp angle exactly from the distance off that cup it needs to be. And then what I'm gonna do is just give my cup a spin and make sure it still looks good, but it's not physically touching the lamp. So if you've got a lot of walk in your cup, this could be a little close. You might have to back this lamp off. But that's gonna be about where I want it, what this guide distance is off from the edge of the cup. So that's adjusted. So that's got the angle here. The lamp height is adjusted here. One other thing that I failed to mention are these shading plates. Okay, having some scissors on hand, this is where this is going to be important. So we only want the areas of the lamp showing that are going to be curing the cup. So what I'm going to do is measure this here and slide these shading plates in down the side of the lamp, just like so. Well, let me flip it around. Get a more rigid side. There we go. So I don't want to cover up too much of the cup, but this is simply going to just block extra light from bouncing around. So I'm going to take and go to the edge of the cup and leave just a little bit showing. And I'm going to make an indentation, and I'm going to mark this with my fingers, and I'm going to cut this here. We'll use that other one as well. So this is going to be the tail end there. We also need to put one up here towards the top. So I should have started with that one. Up towards the top is where we'll make another one here. The top one I have measured from outside before. The main thing on the top one is it just needs to cover up around this much distance. So a lot of times I'll even look at it, mark it here, and then I'll cut it and slide that one all the way in. Sometimes it's easier if you don't have a cup in to really see and slide these in. So we'll slide this one in, and you can go further than you need to. So if you cut it too long, just simply slide it past it. Same thing goes for here. So I'll get both of these in, and then we'll attach that cup back and figure out exactly where to set these shading plates. Once these are set, you should never have to touch them again as long as you're running 20-ounce cups. So once again, we're going to lock that in, slide our slide piece in, click it 3 times. So now, once again, make sure it's not overhanging the edge of this white cup, because if it is, it's not going to cure your ink at the bottom there. And then you also don't want this one overhanging on the powder coat. So only this area from here to here is what I've got showing on that lamp. All right. So that's now set. My height is set. My angle of my cup is set. So that shouldn't have changed when I put a different cup on. I'll double check it. Sometimes I will adjust these slightly. The next step is going to be putting our cover plate on. So that's this piece here. So if you look in the back and in the rear, there's 2 grooves. This is currently raised too high. I'm going to show you guys how to adjust this down. So this knob that comes with your machine is going to go over here. And if you notice cover up and cover down, this right here is going to raise the cover up, so it's going to give me more height. So right now I'm going all the way up with, I'm going up with it slowly. So that's giving me the ability to set this top cover, just like so. All right, so if you guys look, now I'm setting this top cover. I can now lift this up, use this kickstand to rest. I need to attach my sensor here. That's in this small bag that we talked about before. Once this sensor screws on, you won't ever have to mess with it again. So I'm going to take the screw and washer out. I think it goes this way and slides in. This piece, and we're going to slide it on underneath that metal tab. Then I'm going to take a Phillips head screwdriver, screw it on. Now that should give it the ability to fold and collapse, just like so. So now I can set this and slide this forward, and you may hear it clicking. That is, this tab is registering here in with this sensor. There's a sensor in there. When it slides, that's going to register. So now that I've got my top cover on, the height, I'm going to show you guys how I like going about setting the height. So if you guys look and take a flat edge, I'll take this crank that we talked about for up and down earlier, and I really just like it about where it's at right there. So I like it touching perfectly. The high part of your cup's going to be somewhere about in here. I like to have it pretty much straight across. So the last real important piece of this rotary device before it goes on the machine is talking about the light bounce as well. So when we go to put it on the machine, this is going to slide forward. We need to create some shading plates that will allow, we're going to cut holes out on this magnet or a rectangle, which is going to allow the cup to be shining through, but it's not going to allow light to bounce through. And we're also going to cover this area here. So what I've done is, in order to figure out exactly where I need my shading plate and how to cut it, I'll take some pieces of paper like so. And I like to leave about that amount of distance right there. So what we'll do is put these pieces where we want them. So I'll leave a little bit of the silver showing up top. And we want to make sure we're not too, we leave a little bit showing at the bottom too. So somewhere abouts in there. And what you can do is take this and tape it when you get it set how you like it, like so, and then we can go in and cut our squares. And I've got one cut to show you about how I like it. So I made a 90 degree there. Let's make one here and here. So, let me fix that. Just like so. All right, so now I've got my rectangle about how big I would want it, just like that. So we'll take that and set this perfectly in the center of this rectangle. And then we're going to cut that out. So I need to get this centered on the rectangle and cut that out perfectly. So if you take this top piece, and I did round it off a little bit, and you cut this at 9 1/4. So take this here and cut this exactly at 9 1/4 right there. That's going to give you the perfect length for this piece. So you notice 9 1/4 is the length of this. So when I do that, it allows me to register this all the way to the top, this to slide forward, and then this piece here to be my shading plate down at the bottom. Just like so. So the key is to not have any light showing. Okay. Even these holes here, we're going to want to make sure all the light is covered. All right. So that looks like that might be a touch short. Trying to get this exactly right. Sometimes I will cut even small pieces as well to cover up here. The main thing is we want all this like so, and only the cup showing. So I may add another piece here. Cut this one. But your machine's gonna come with several of these magnetic pieces, okay? So if you screw this one up, it's okay, it's not the end of the world. You do have more that you can play around with. And sometimes I'll cut little strips, whatever I need to make sure all that the light is being covered up. So that's pretty much it. We are going to now show you how to put this onto the machine and go over your start to finish plugging it in and powering it on. All right, so now on the machine, we're gonna go menu, machine setup, scroll down to set option jig, and then select Kebab HS, and it's going to say auto turn power off, click enter. Alright, so now I'm going to put these brackets on. We've got two large brackets we're going to use. This one has a small short tab here. If you look, there's a dimple that's going to set in the bottom corner of this bed. So we're going to use our thumb screws and screw this on. Should be 2. Also didn't mention, make sure you remove your table spacers and have only the bed sitting on the table before you put this on. So remove the table spacers, and I removed the vacuum cord as well. Once you get those on, we're going to go to the top of the back right corner with the dimple as well on this one. And if you look, this one actually has the ability to put in 3. So you're going to have a little J looking hook here. You can use that. You can put 3 in if you want to. I usually find 2 is fine. But there's those 2. Now I'm going to come on with the kebab over to the unit itself. It is a heavy kebab, so make sure we don't just grab by the lamp. You're going to, some people like to remove this top cover and set it off to the side. And there are handles here and here if you want to grab them that way. I find it better to grab underneath and grab the lamp assembly, just like so. So once I get this on, I've got my 2 cords back here in the back. They're going to plug up here. So these will be tough for you to see on camera, but that one's going to drop in just like so. I need to twist it. Just like that, and you're going to screw these 2 knobs in. And this one, sometimes I have to unhook the hose clamp there. This groove on this plug should face you. This one can be kind of tricky. I may have told you wrong. The groove may need to face the opposite direction. Let's see. I do also remove the cover on my machine, and you can do this from the back, which gives you a lot more room to see. The groove faces you. Alright, so I've got both of those plugged in. And next I'm going to make sure we also have the lamp assembly plugged in. So this is the lamp cord. This would have been a lot easier to do beforehand. it plugs into the back of the lamp here. And you, like I said, you can do this before you put it on. I came around to the back of the machine, and then we're going to screw these in just like we did the other one. Do anything more. So that's it. That's your 3 plugs. All right, one last bracket I didn't show you is I'm going to use a white thumb screw and screw this into the bed here. And then you're going to screw this bracket onto the machine. Can be a little tricky to get lined up. You can put this on outside the machine as well. There we go. So it's 2 small Phillips head screws. Let's see if they're lining up. Lock that one down. All right. So the main thing with registration now is once we get this locked down, we're going to register all the way to the back right. You're going to feel it bump, and then also here. So you want to make sure your groove is touching there, and then also in the back. So these are our registration bumps. So I always make sure this is not sticking up as well before I power on those cords. All right. And then you could also put your shading plate, your top cover back on now as well. So remember, we've got grooves. So I'm going to put that in the groove in the rear. There's one on both the left and the right. Remember, here's our kickstand. This is what holds that up. So I can drop this down, slide my chuck back, and I'll be ready to go. So now we will just power the machine on, and that will tell it that we are ready to print on the kebab. Make sure that the shading plates and everything, you just, before you go to running cups, it's vitally important that you get your shading plate on with the light being protected. All right, so the main thing before you run a cup is you just want to make sure that nothing is rubbing. It's flat across, and we've got all of our light being blocked. So our next video is going to be setting the origin, powering on, and going over start to finish how to do a cup.